Close your eyes and imagine standing on the banks of the Thames in 1750. The air thick with coal smoke and salt water. The cries of merchants mixing with the creak of ship rigging. This is London, not the London you know, but a city caught between its medieval past and an imperial future. Our journey begins where all London stories must, on the Thames itself. From this vantage point, upriver from where Tower Bridge will one day stand, the entire drama of Georgian London unfolds before us. Ships from every corner of the known world crowd these waters. Vessels carrying tea from China, spices from India, sugar from the Caribbean. This isn't just a river. It's the circulatory system of an empire being born. And there, rising above it all like a declaration of intent, stands Christopher Wren's St. Paul's Cathedral. Its dome, completed just 40 years earlier, announces to anyone approaching the city, London has been reborn from the ashes. The Great Fire of 1666 tried to destroy us. Instead, it gave us the chance to rebuild ourselves as something greater. Look closely at that old London Bridge, still carrying houses and shops on its back like it has for 500 years. It's a living relic, a medieval survivor in an increasingly modern world. Within a generation, those houses will be gone, swept away by progress. But for now, they remain, a bridge quite literally between two ages. Now we climb One Tree Hill in Greenwich. Feel the wind here, it blows in from the sea, carrying with it the salt and promise of distant lands. Below us, the Queen's House sits in perfect symmetry, flanked by Wren's Naval Hospital, those magnificent colonnades that tell sailors, you gave your lives to Britannia. She will not forget. But Greenwich is more than beautiful architecture. You're standing at what will become longitude zero, the invisible line from which the entire world will be measured. The British aren't just conquering geography, they're organizing it, cataloging it, making it comprehensible and controllable. This hilltop is where maritime power meets scientific ambition. Those fashionably dressed figures taking in the view? They're not just tourists. They're witnesses to history, watching ships arrive from voyages that lasted months, bringing back not just cargo but stories, maps, and knowledge that will reshape how humanity understands itself. Leicester Square in the 1750s was where London's creative soul lived and breathed. Imagine walking these cobblestones past William Hogarth's door at number 31, the man who held up a mirror to Georgian society and showed it all its contradictions, its cruelties, its absurd vanities. Across the square, Joshua Reynolds will soon set up his portrait studio, capturing on canvas the faces of everyone who mattered. Prime ministers, poets, actresses, philosophers, all will sit for him in that room, and through his brush, become immortal. The statue of King George I stands at the center, a Hanoverian king presiding over English creativity. There's something wonderfully ironic about it. This German monarch watching over the square where English artistic genius flowered. Leicester House dominates the scene, home to princes and future kings. But its days of residential glory are already numbered. Entertainment is coming, theaters, pleasure gardens, spectacle. The aristocrats will move on, and the people will move in. Cross to the South Bank now and look north at the Tower of London. For 7 centuries, this fortress has guarded the approaches to the city. But guard against what? Invaders? Traitors? Or perhaps against the very idea that royal power could ever be challenged? Those walls have witnessed everything: coronations and executions, triumphs and treason. And Bullen passed through Traitor's Gate. So did Sir Thomas More. They entered as prisoners and left as legends. The tower doesn't just hold people, it holds memory itself. Watch the boats on the river. Some carry goods, some carry passengers, but all operate in the tower's shadow, a constant reminder that in Georgian England, commerce and power are inseparable. Now step into the courtyard of the Royal Exchange. Close your eyes and listen. Can you hear it? The bell ringing to mark the trading session. The roar of hundreds of merchants shouting prices. Bills of exchange rustling like autumn leaves. quill-scratching contracts that will send ships to the Indies or finance wars in Europe. This building, inspired by the great exchanges of Antwerp and Amsterdam, is where London learned to speak the language of global finance. Upstairs in the galleries, Lloyd's of London is pioneering insurance. Downstairs, men are trading commodities they've never seen from countries they'll never visit. This is capitalism finding its voice, loud, chaotic, brilliant, and brutal all at once. St. James's Square represents a different kind of power. Old money, inherited titles, the kind of privilege measured in centuries rather than fortunes. The most exclusive address in London, where dukes and earls live behind elegant facades. That ornamental basin in the center, surrounded by obelisks and lamps, was installed because the square had become, in the delicate words of the time, rude and in great disorder. Imagine being so wealthy that you hire a royal gardener to make your neighborhood less embarrassing. But even here, change is coming. Within decades, the aristocrats will sell these houses to gentlemen's clubs and businesses. The old order is already beginning its long, slow retreat. Finally, we arrive at Cheapside, and here's where you hear the real voice of London. Not the aristocrats in their squares or the merchants in their exchange, but the shopkeepers, the craftsmen, the market traders who make the city actually function. Listen for the bells of St. Mary le Bow. Hear them. If you were born within earshot of those bells, you're a true Cockney. This is your London, a city of work, of trade, of people making their way through sheer determination and wit. These shops lining the street are selling the world, silks from China, spices from the East Indies, books printed in a dozen languages. Cheapside is where empire becomes retail, where the spoils of conquest become consumer goods. We've traveled through one city but seen a dozen Londons: imperial, commercial, artistic, aristocratic, working class. All of them existing simultaneously, overlapping, contradicting each other. This is what AI technology allows us to do now. Not just see old engravings, but step into them, walk these streets, understand these spaces as lived experiences rather than historical facts. The past has left us thousands of these windows into lost worlds. Cities across the globe waiting to be revived, their stories waiting to be retold. Where should we travel next? Tell us in the comments. Your choice could determine our next journey through time. Thank you for walking these streets with us. Until we meet again in another century, in another city, in another life.